Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Holy Plot. Excuse the voice. I'm very excited. I get to talk about Dracula on my YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Holy Plot. This is Liam, Jacob, and James, and we have just seen The Last Voyage of the Demeter, the new Dracula movie that dropped recently from Universal and DreamWorks, of all people.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that I thought I was in the wrong theater for a split second. I thought I was in like Puss in Boots when I started doing the guitar. Anyway, for those of you who do not know, which is all of you, I am easily the biggest Dracula fan any of you have come into contact with starting this very moment. I have read the book. I've seen all the Hammer films, all the classic Universal films. I've seen the Francis Ford Coppola, Gary Oldman one, which is the best. I'm a big fan. I've even seen Hotel Transylvania. So when I heard that there was a new hot, steamy piece of Dracula content coming out from our boys at Universal, of course I went to go see it. To start us off with it, I quite liked it, but it could have been better. I'll go ahead and say my rating for it right now. It is sitting at a very comfortable 7 out of 10. Probably closer to an 8 than a 6, in my opinion, but still a definite 7. So let me go into what I liked about it. So for some background, for those of you who may not know, the Demeter and its titular Last Voyage do appear in the book and in most film adaptations, but it's only like a chapter in the book, and it's just the captain's log, and the captain basically says, yeah, I got this shit from Europe, bunch of boxes. This is weird. My men are nervous. We're starting to disappear. This vessel is doomed. And then he implies is killed off. And then it's revealed in the next chapter that the Demeter just sort of washes up. And that's basically it. I'm obviously paraphrasing, but that's it. So the whole book of Dracula is told through like newspaper clippings and journal entries and logs and stuff like that. So this movie took that one chapter and stretched it out into a 2-hour feature, which is probably too long, honestly.
For sure. That was one of the biggest issues with the movie.
I think that there is a really solid, like 90-minute movie in here. That gets bogged down by just some unnecessary stuff. But they're obviously going to have to invent some stuff if they want to make a whole movie about Dracula going on the Demeter from wherever. I think it was like Hungary,
Romania.
Well, he goes to Varna, which is not in Romania. I don't think it really doesn't matter. Anyway, the movie was fun. I had a great time with it. I saw it in a pretty full theater, fuller than I thought it was going to be for the time I saw it. And it got some.
Actually. I think it was pretty full.
It got some screams out of people at points. I was not scared by this movie at all. I recently also saw Talk to Me, which is another horror movie that came out, infinitely scarier. So right off the bat, if you're looking for a movie that is going to scare you, this is probably not it. If you're looking for like a fun creature feature and you like vampires, this is it, because it has been many moons since any piece of big blockbuster media that I can think of has taken vampires, and specifically Dracula, and taken it seriously, which was extremely refreshing as someone who is a big fan of the source material.
Vampire media is infamously starved. I mean,
yeah, which is ironic.
Over the past 2 years, we've gotten Morbius and Redfall. That's it.
No, for real.
And Redfield.
Vampire fans, it's been hard. We've been in the trenches, but what worked about this movie? I think the creature design was really fun. I like how it changed and morphed throughout the movie as he got more powerful and fed more. The characters were not as annoying as I thought they were going to be from the trailer. I thought it was going to be like a really cliche, pompous good guy routine, whatever. It wasn't that, in my opinion, anyway. It also went further than I thought it was going to go. When I saw the trailer, and I guess I'll go into spoilers. If you like vampires, you want some new vampire media, you're down for some spooks that aren't going to like rock your world, you like Dracula, go see it. It's like a 7. I think we're all on a 7, if I'm correct.
Well, We will let Liam kind of keep helming the ship, pun intended. I will say I am kind of a horror movie pansy. I do not like being scared. I still enjoy horror movies, but it's not exactly what I go to. And I wanted this movie to scare me a lot more than it did. I think it left a lot to be desired in that area, and I think a fair argument is that it wasn't that the film wasn't going for that. It wasn't its objective. But I think if it increased the horror a little bit, it would have increased the tension because it kind of felt like, and the way that Liam sold me to it was Dracula meets Alien. You know, kind of like
Yeah.
stuck on this little ship, and you have this ghoul, you know, kind of terrorizing the passengers. And I was really excited for that, but it didn't exactly give me the suspense I was looking for.
That's a high bar. Come on, come on now.
But but you get what I'm saying.
No, I do. I definitely do, and I think that's what it was going for.
When I saw like the poster and I think maybe the teaser first draft for this movie, I thought it was a really cool idea. I actually didn't even know it came from a chapter in the book. I just thought the idea of Dracula with that alien feel of being stuck on the ship looked really cool, and they were going for the creepy gargoyle look for his monster look. However, when I was watching the movie, I just didn't really think. I feel like the people making this movie were really trying, like with the ship design,
For sure,
and the spooky lighting and all that. But for some reason, it all just didn't click for me, and I think the runtime definitely is part of that.
Yeah.
It felt it was dragging its feet just to
easily the biggest problem, in my opinion, is the runtime.
And it just didn't click, but I like the idea.
One thing I do want to mention, and I will keep it quick, is that I really like the score in this movie.
Bear McCreary, baby.
Bear McCreary, the GOAT, he did the score for God of War, both games, the new ones. He did Rings of Power. He kind of started on Stargate, and some of the best production value in this movie, I thought, was the score from him.
Yeah.
So, Liam, James and I are sitting at a 5 out of 10.
Oh, you're killing me. All right, well.
Sorry, Liam.
Speaking of production value, one thing I really like that I mentioned before, and this is full spoilers, by the way. If you want to see the movie, go see it. Is that this movie, the gore in it was better than I thought it was going to be, for sure. Like when Dracula bites into someone's neck or rips apart an animal, he really goes for it. You're seeing like tendons and meat, and it's gross. And they also straight up
stop a dog.
Yeah, they killed the dog and they killed the kid, and the kid died like 2 times. So when I saw the trailer, I saw the main dude, Protag, I think Clemens is his name, and I saw the girl and I saw the kid. I'm like, right off the bat, girl, Protag, and kid are gonna be fine in this movie. They're not gonna kill the kid, but they killed the shit out of the kid. He got like gnawed on and then set on fire. It was so I like my jaw dropped in the theater. I was not expecting them to do that. I also thought that the kills that we got to see were really creative and fun, and Dracula was very unleashed in this, but that kind of leads into a criticism I have where I think, and this might sound like it doesn't track with what I just said, but I think Dracula was a little too beastly in this, in the sense that he kind of reminded me more of one of the critters from The Descent rather than Dracula. If you guys don't know what The Descent is, it's a bunch of people in a cave getting ripped apart by like bat creatures. It's pretty good. Go watch it. But
totally heard of that, yeah.
It just seemed like he was more of like a mindless monster, which they did, to the movie's credit, touch on. He's doing some manipulation with like the captain. And especially at the end, he even talks to Clemens. But I wish, like, it would be fine if the movie started out and he's really beastly and monstrous, but then he gets more intelligent. And then by the end, in that final showdown scene where they're trying to sink the boat, he's just like full on talking, mocking them, laughing Dracula, like almost Gary Oldman style. I would have much preferred that, and I think it would have even been a bit scarier, because you go in and you're like, oh, this is some bat creature, and then you realize how smart it is and how outmatched they are on like a spiritual level, and we got to see more of Dracula's powers, which they also touched a little bit with the mist. For those of you who don't know, in the book, one of Dracula's powers, he can sort of control the weather, and a lot of the storms that randomly hit the ship, that's Dracula doing that. and then he can turn into mist and shit. So I wish we got to see a bit more of Dracula's powers. I wish we got to hear him talk a little bit more, and he was more intelligent, I guess. But what we got, I thought was really fun. It was more than serviceable. I think I'm just so thirsty, pun intended, for vampire content that at least tries to be scary and take itself serious, especially with the big D man over here. I am the target audience for this movie. All right, I won't mince words, and I enjoyed it.
And I mean, I'm happy for you because vampire fans have just been neglected. And I mean, it's very cool. I think the best thing I can say about this movie is that I like its narrow focus.
Yeah.
So I just think this movie would be 10 times better if they cut that runtime down.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was my biggest issue. And I think most people are going to walk out of this movie feeling that way.
Mm-hmm. Now, make him a bit smarter, make him talk more, make him more powerful, make the movie shorter, and I think you got a banger on our hands. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think if it was quicker, like I'd like to see a cut of that. Like if somebody was to recut it online. Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that. I was thinking while I was watching it that it'd be really fun to edit the movie down to a more consumable level and then splice it into the Gary Oldman Dracula movie. So like when he goes on the ship and then it plays like a 45-minute cut of Last Voyage of the Demeter and then it goes back to the normal Dracula movie. I don't know. Something like that. But
maybe
I digress.
One day I'll plot.
Maybe, yeah, stay tuned. So to wrap us up here, at least with my thoughts on it, with some recommendations. If you are a fan of vampire media and Dracula, you will enjoy this movie. Go watch it. If you want to right now go to a movie theater and be really scared, go watch Talk to Me. And if you want to watch the best Dracula movie, best Dracula content, go watch Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is what it's called. Extremely good movie. Honestly, underrated. That movie's underrated. As for another recommendation, if you like this guy's stuff, the director of this movie, he has this movie that is so severely underrated. It is called Troll Hunter, and I promise this is real. I promise, it is a Norwegian found footage movie that is all about trolls, like big old hairy bridge dwelling. There's actually one that lives under the bridge in this movie, Trolls, and it rips dick, man. I promise you. Please, if you liked this movie even a little bit, if you didn't like this movie even a little bit, go watch Troll Hunter. It's definitely better than this movie. I don't want to say anything that would spoil it. That movie fucking rules. And then the last thing I want to say is that I don't know. I know Universal at one point flirted with the idea of like a monster verse. I think they called it the Dark Universe or something. And
no.
Now at the end of this movie, full spoilers, like I said, protagonist survives, but he is the only survivor. And he gets to London, and it's almost like they are flirting with doing a sequel to this movie. Maybe. And if they do, does that mean we could get more weird, horror, hyper-focused Universal monster stuff? Could we see a movie that's all about the Amazon expedition from Creature of the Black Lagoon? Or all about the creation of Frankenstein, or him walking around after he's already been made? Or are we going to talk about the mummy being in a museum? Who knows? I don't know. I'd probably watch it. I think it's about as good a time as any to try out some of these classic monsters again. So, yeah, 7 out of 10 for me, 5 out of 10 for my co-host. I think Holy Plot can meet safely at a 6. Unless
I'll give you a 6.
Unless my co-hosts have any final thoughts, that's all I got. Last Voyage of the Demeter, pretty good.
Liam, you did a wonderful job, so I think we are good.
Way to go, Liam.
I tried. What can I say? After 300 years of drinking blood and playing the organ, I've gotten pretty good at recording podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching or listening or whatever you do. Please like, comment, and subscribe, or I will turn into mist and come suck your blood in your bedroom. Thank you, baby.